Artists, this is Mrs. RT, and today we're going to be talking about the artist Vincent van Gogh. You may have seen some Vincent van Gogh paintings before, either his sunflowers or the Starry Night painting, or he did lots of portraits and self-portraits as well. Vincent van Gogh was born in March of 1853 in the Netherlands, and he could speak Dutch, English, and French. The painting that we're going to be looking at the most today is the sunflowers that he made. And these he made in January of 1889 in the south of France. And he used three main shades of yellow, and he painted these sunflowers, a very similar picture of them many times to show that he could do it many times and it would still be an interesting painting. And he thought that the sunflowers painting communicated gratitude, and he often gave them as gifts to people that visited the studio. So today we're going to start with the story Van Gogh and the sunflowers. And then I'm going to show you how to draw sunflowers and a flower vase similar to one of Vincent van Gogh's most famous paintings. So this is our story. Where Camille lived, the sunflowers grew so high they looked like real suns. A whole field of burning yellow sun. Every day after school, Camille would run through the sunflowers to meet his father, who was the postman. Together they would lift down heavy sacks of mail. One day a strange man arrived in Camille's town. He had a straw hat, a yellow beard, and quick brown eyes. "I am Vincent, the painter," he said, smiling at Camille. Vincent came to live in the yellow house at the end of Camille's street. He had no money and no friends. "Let's try to help him," said Camille's father. So they loaded a cart with pots and pans and furniture for the yellow house. Camille picked a huge bunch of sunflowers for the painter, and put them in a big brown pot. Vincent was very pleased to have two good friends. Vincent asked Camille's father if he would like to have his picture painted, dressed in his best blue uniform. "You must sit very still," said Vincent. Camille loved the bright colors Vincent used and the strong smell of the paint. As Camille watched, his father's face appeared like magic on the canvas. The picture was strange, but very beautiful. Vincent said he would like to paint the whole family: Camille's mother, his brother, and his baby sister. At last, Camille himself. Camille was very excited. He had never even had his picture taken with a camera. Camille took his painting to school. He wanted everyone to see it, but the other children didn't like the picture, and they all began to laugh. This made Camille very sad. After school, some of the older children started teasing Vincent. They ran along behind him as he went out to paint. Even the grown-ups joined in. "It's time he got a real job," they said, "instead of playing with paints all day." Camille sat for hours watching Vincent paint. It was very hot, but Vincent worked fast. He painted the fields and even the sun itself. He was the sunflower man, Camille said to himself. But no matter how hard Vincent worked, he would never sell any of his paintings. "If I had a lot of money," said Camille, "I would like to buy them all." "Thank you, my friend," laughed Vincent. One afternoon, as Camille and Vincent were coming back from the fields, some of the children from Camille's school were waiting. They shouted at Vincent and threw stones at him. Camille wanted them to stop, but what could he do? He was only a small boy. At last he ran home in tears. Listen, Camille, said his father. People often laugh at things that are different, but I've got a feeling that one day they will learn to love Vincent's paintings. That night, Camille had a strange dream. He saw Vincent standing in the moonlight, high above the town. Vincent had struck candles on his hat so that he could see. The Sunflower Man was painting the stars. And this is similar to his famous Starry Night painting that you've probably seen before. Early the next morning, Camille was awakened by a loud knocking at the door. Some men from the town had come to see his father. Listen, postman, they said, we want you to give this letter to your friend. It says he must pack up his paints and leave town. Camille slipped through the door. He ran down the street to the yellow house. It seemed very quiet inside. Then Camille saw the sunflowers that he had picked for Vincent. They had all dried up and died. Camille felt sadder than ever. Vincent was upstairs packing his bags. He looked very tired, but smiled at Camille. Don't be sad, he said. It's about time for me to paint somewhere else now. Perhaps they will like my paintings there. But first, I have something to show you. Vincent lifted down a big picture. There were Camille's sunflowers, bigger and brighter than ever. Camille looked at the painting and smiled too. Goodbye, Sunflower Man, he whispered, and ran out of the yellow house into the sunshine. Those are the sunflowers that we're going to focus on today. Camille's father was right. People did learn to love Vincent's paintings. Today, you would have to have a lot of money if you wanted to buy one, but now people all over the world go to museums and galleries just to see Vincent's painting. The yellow house of Camille, of his family, and especially of the picture of the sunflowers, so bright and yellow, they look like real suns. Vincent van Gogh was born in Holland on March 30th, 1853. As a young man, Vincent studied to become a clergyman like his father. He was 27 before he began to paint seriously. At the age of 35, Vincent went to the south of France looking for sunshine and bright colors. Here, he became friends with Camille's family. During this time, he painted more than 150 pictures, although only one was sold during his lifetime. Vincent became lonely and ill at last. In a fit of madness, he cut off his own ear. He was taken to the hospital, but even there he kept painting. In May 1890, he traveled north to seek help from another doctor, but only 2 months later, he was shot with a pistol and died on July 29th. He was buried in the local church, far from the sunshine and color he loved so dearly. So that was our story about Vincent van Gogh and the sunflowers. And now we're going to focus on that picture of the sunflowers that he painted. So you can see all the different shades of yellows, oranges, browns. I'm going to show you how I made the outline of my sunflowers, and you can even add some of your own details. So you can see on this one, even the background is painted in yellow. I changed my background a little bit to make the flowers pop out even more. So I'm going to show you the outline of the sunflower design that I did. You can follow along with that and then add in your own colors and details to it as well. So for this, I started with the vase. And the sides are curved around. You can curve the bottom and the top to connect those lines. And this vase has a line through the middle, and then he signed his name Vincent right here. So you can sign his name for the artist, Vincent, or if you would like to write your own name here, you can. And then the flowers are all different shapes on here. We have some that have long, thin petals. We have some that might be a little bit fluffier, look more like a circle or an oval. So I'll show you a few different designs that I made on mine. For this one here, I started with an oval in the middle. I had a small oval on the inside. And then I was thinking about the different textures and colors of the flowers. So for this one, I just made small lines going around the edge, and then I added more detail with color. And if yours look a little different, that's okay, just try your best. Every flower looks a little bit different, every drawing can look a little bit different. For this big sunflower next to it, I started with a circle in the middle. A little circle inside, and then it had some texture going around it that I made with my marker before I colored it in. Just small lines. And then on this one, I made a lot of long, thin petals. So they come up to a point and back down. And I did that shape all the way around. Go out to a point and back in, all the way around. And then with this one, even to fill in the gaps, I did a second row of them in between those petals. So I'm almost just making a long, thin letter V going all the way around. Then for each of the flowers, we also want to make these stems going in. So I just make 2 lines coming from the flower going into the vase. I'm going to show you a few more, but then you can also take some time to make your own flower designs, your own shapes. So just like I've showed you here, just think of the different shapes that you could make for the petal in the center of the flower, and you can make your own flower designs as well. So for this one here, it's very similar to the one we just did. I just made the petals bigger. So I made a circle for the middle with some lines for that texture on the center of the flower. And then these petals I just did bigger up to a point and back down all the way around. Curve out to a point and back in. And then if you want to fill it in even more, you can make another layer of that same shape in between each of the flowers. And then have the stem come in. The last one I'll show you is one like this that you can see I have a few times throughout this painting. This one would be very similar to one of these flowers, it's just on its side. So I started with a long thin oval, the stem going down into the vase, and then the petals that I did just come out to a point and back in. So they're similar to these ones, they're just curved on their side if you want to try one like that. So it would be more like if you're looking for the flower from its side. And then the last thing I'll show you is I had a line for the table that goes from the vase to the edge of the paper. So that's a basic outline similar to the famous sunflowers of Vincent van Gogh. We can see in this picture that there's a lot of different color. And even in the Starry Night picture, that is one of his most famous paintings, you can always see the brush strokes and lines of color in his artwork. So that's why even with crayons that I used for this one, I layered lines of color all built up. I used yellow, brown, orange, so that you can see all those layers of different brushstroke colors. So now you can take some more time, add more to the design. You can add color, you could add more flowers in. We saw in his, he had a lot of flowers in that vase. And I'm just going to show you how to write his name on the side if you want to write down the name of the artist so that you can remember who this was inspired by. His first name was Vincent, V-I-N-C-E-N-T. That's his first name. And his last name is Van Gogh. V-A-N-G-O-G-H. So that is the artist that inspired this project today. So I hope you liked the story and learning a little bit more about our artist Vincent van Gogh. Take some time to add your own creative details to this, and we'll see you next time.